All right, so how do we find these roots? Now, it's going to be look very scary. I'm not going to prove that this works yet. So, how do we find A? So, let's say that we have a problem right here. So, let's go X. So, for example, that we would have the problem. So we have x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay, so the first step is to write down your ABCs, quite literally. Okay, so the number A right here is 1. There's 1x squared, so A is 1. How many times do we have x's? We have minus 5 x's. It's the amount. And how many constant terms? We have 5, or 6, sorry, plus 6. Okay, so I'll just write down. Firstly, we need to find what's so-called the discriminant. Okay, so I'll write that down. We're going to find and calculate the discriminant. Okay, for now we'll just memorize how to find this number, and it is that D equals, and I'll keep the coloring, is B squared minus 4 times A times C. That's all. All we're doing is plugging in numbers. We know that even from primary school, how to plug in numbers. So let's plug in our numbers and calculate the discriminant, and I'll explain why it's useful. D equals minus 5. So right here, I'm going to add, in fact, I'm going to add brackets everywhere, just as a for a beginner video. Minus 5 squared, of course. Minus 4 times 1. A is 1. And C is 6. Okay? Now let's do a very basic algebra. Now, minus 5 squared, very hopefully, we remember this, that it is plus 25. This is minus 4 times 1 times 6 is 24. And the discriminant is 1. Our discriminant is equal to 1. So D equals to 1. Okay. Now, why is this important? There is a very cool rule of how to find the roots. Now, cautious, it looks very scary at first. So we have 2 solutions by default. Here goes a minus B, and I'll try to keep it in color. So we have minus B plus minus the square root of the discriminant, okay? The square root divided by 2 times A. This is something that we can memorize. This is something that we can simply use to solve for the roots of any quadratic function. So I'm going to simplify it further. I'm going to immediately calculate the square root of my discriminant. Now, the square root of D of square root of 1 is just 1. However, if you would have, let's say, square root of 4 equals to 2, square root of 9 equals to 3, and so forth. Let's plug in our values. Equals minus B is a minus problem, so it's a minus 5. Plus minus. There's just 1. Simply 1. The discriminant is 1. And 2 times a is 2 times 1. That's in green. Okay, let's simplify further. We have minus minus. It's plus. I'm going just with white now. And 2 times 1 is 1. Now what do you do with the plus minus? What the hell means plus minus? What does it mean? Plus minus means that we have 2 options and we have to explore both of them. It's like go to the left and go to the right. We have to go 1 and then you have to go to the other side. The first one is 5 plus 1 divided by 2, which is 6 divided by 2, and which is 3. Our first root is 3. Is at x equals 3, and we'll prove it to be true by plugging it into the expression. Now, 5 minus 1 divided by 2. What does that do? That's 4. And that's 2. Our second root is 2. Okay? Let's prove it. Let's check our work. Now let me get a very nice in fact, let me make it let me choose a felt pen. Check your work. It'll save you a lot of time in your adult life, assuming, I mean, you're a student, or any kind of project work, is checking your work. You have to check if it's true. And how? By simply plugging in. Again, by simply plugging in that we have, whoops, that wouldn't work. Let's plug in our first root, which is 3. And this we definitely know how to plug in numbers, is that we simply plug in the number 3. And let me also use a color. Let's say it's a red 3. Okay, so we have x squared. So we have, this is how it looks. X squared minus 5x plus 6, and x becomes 3. So 3 squared minus 5 times 3 plus 6. What does that equate to? 3 squared is 9 minus 15 plus 6, and that is a beautiful 0, which is, I am right. I am right. That's the beauty of mathematics, is that you can be really 100% correct in something. Well, assuming you're not like a researcher in mathematics, then that's not the case. Let's plug in 2. Let's plug in 2, and let's prove that we are correct. 2 squared minus 5 times 2 plus 6. We have 4 minus 10 plus 6, and that is again 0. So the teacher could argue with you, but you can simply prove that, hey, the math fits, and I am absolutely 100% correct that these are my roots. We know where to draw them. Now there's a small, if I may say, caveat. There's a small issue, is that we know where the points are. Okay, we have 2 points. We have 2 points of the quadratic function. Let's these are the 2 points. Yeah. So this is 2 and this is 3. However, we don't know how. We know the direction. Okay, we learned how to know. So the shape is a smiley face. However, where do you draw it? Is it a small one, or is it a large quadratic function? We don't know yet, because in the next video, we will calculate the last point that we need, which is called the vertex. We need to find the vertex so that we can draw the entire quadratic function.